Well, I bought it. Well, here I am. Tony Mackenzie's YouTube channel, and of course Evil Owl. There's one there. There's another one behind me that's got the evil bit on it, but that's another story. You'll have to come back another time for that one. So hey Tony, what have you got today? Well, here it is. It's just a box. Anybody remember this? Yeah, I'm sure you do. It's one of those Jeff Beck Strats, yeah. And this is part 2 of it. Yeah, so now you know what it's about. Let's get down and have a look. Yeah, so there I was on the internet, answering all the little questions that people fire at me. And one guy came on, he says, I've just been on the Stratosphere, which is where I got the body from. Yeah, they've got a Jeff Beck neck on there right now. And I thought, whoa, I didn't check. So off I went. Yeah, and he was dead right. So I bought it. So let's get this darn thing out. It's arrived just the other day. Oh, and I also bought some Fender parts. Love saying that, don't you? Yeah, these were like the 2 pieces that were missing off the body. Yeah, these sort of them, what are these called? American SRS strap buttons. So I've got the real ones. It cost me all of £9, so you can add £9 to the total as we go. Anyway, there they are. More of them later. Get out of here. Yeah, so these type of necks, I have to say, let's throw this away. Oh. So these type of necks that you see here, they're really not that common. And they're really not that cheap either, but more about the cheap later. But was it actually any good? You know, I bought it almost blind over the internet. And I've talked about the Stratosphere before on eBay, you know, for your parts. Yeah. And here it is. And the thing about this one, they said, not me, they said, oh yeah, it's got a bit of a dent, you know. And I thought to myself, it was about 500, was it £500? I think it's about $500. It could have been £500, but in either way, it's not really that far away. And I know that they can fetch a fair amount of money because I've actually paid more historically. But it isn't that, it's just that they're so rare. Well, here it is. I mean, it's still got the Fender sticker on it with its serial number. And the serial number does match. We can have a look anyway, don't worry. Yeah, so what I've got is this Jeff Beck neck that's, well, is it good, bad or indifferent? You might be shocked at how good it is or how bad it is. It's all relative, and don't forget, it's not particularly a cheap neck. I wouldn't call it cheap by anybody's standards. But let's zoom in and see what you really get for your money from the Stratosphere. And I'll point out the, quote, dent, if you can call it that, which I could fix in about 20 seconds. Anyway, we'll see it. Okay, well, here we are. I vote we take a look at it first, close up, and then I'll give you a few specs and other things later. Yeah, well, here's the headstock. Yeah, all very nice. Feels beautiful. It's nice and matte as well, by the way. It's not one of these gloss type of things. And there's the Jeff Beck stick-on signature. Sadly, Jeff's never seen this neck. Well, that's life. What more can I say? R.I.P. Jeff. Yeah, it's a standard thing. And in this case, you'll see that this piece of wood around here is probably walnut. Whereas on the other Strat neck I looked at recently, the sort of Mexican one, well, I think it was Mexican. It was sort of made of like a plasticky type of insert there, which is what it is, I guess. But you know, what can you say? This one came with the tuners, and we'll see a bit more of them in a minute when we go a bit closer. So I want to sort of move down the neck and then we'll come back up. Now, as some of you will know, this sort of roller neck, this type here, isn't the type that Jeff Beck preferred. He preferred, well, a different brand, and it's a slightly different design. Doesn't really matter which, because truth is you can't buy them anymore. Yeah, they just, well, I've even seen them going for £100 for a for a piece of metal that's worth about a tenner. Yeah, so I'll stick with this one because I already have at least 2 necks like this, and I know what this one does, and it sort of works well. And one of the things to note, because of that there, because you've got this fitted, have you noticed there's no string trees? But more about that as well when we come further round. Yeah, no string trees, all nice, isn't it? It's the way it should be, I guess. It looks very nice piece of rosewood as well. Very nice, yeah. Finished well. It feels rolled on the edges, by the way. Now moving along a little bit, you've got these, well, they look almost like porcelain type of material, or clay, some people call it. Yeah, but my guess is that they're plastic. They probably are today. Just look at the frets. These are quite nice frets as well. I mean, when you feel them, you don't feel anything sticking out jagged, you know. And I have to be honest, on the Mexican one, they weren't bad. Honestly, they weren't bad for a neck that costs about, at that time, about half the price of this one. The Mexican one was a great deal. Having said that, this one's a great deal if you know what you're looking at, but we'll come back to that. Yeah, so I haven't got a problem with the frets. I think the frets are nice, and I think the, like I said, the rosewood itself, it's very, very nice. And just like the rest of the neck, I mean, it's a pretty awesome piece of guitar work, if you believe me. I hope you do believe me, because they really are as good as I said. I mean, this guy had put this thing on the internet when he put it on. It probably hadn't been on that long. And I think there were like 20 or 30 watchers. They're all frightened to buy it, I guess, with that dent. But when you see the dent, you'll be saying, where is it? Yeah, quite amazing. So, yeah, I still like all this end of it as well. I don't think there's anything I can find currently that's not really pretty good. Okay, well, taking a look around this end, you can see that you've got this metal plate, and that's for adjusting the tilt of the neck, if you need to. You've got this walnut stripe, which a lot of people call a skunk stripe, yeah, for obvious reasons. You ever seen a skunk? And this black piece is maple. Of course it's maple. We've got a date on there, more about that when we go back up. And we've got the holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4 for a standard Strat. And you've got these holes, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Jeff Beck Strat, and 1 or 2 others. Yeah, all nice. You can have a look at the end of the neck now. You can see how that is, all very nice. And that rosewood sticks out and looks absolutely awesome. Here we are, moving along a bit further. It's finished in this incredible matte sort of sheen. It's not shiny. It's very smooth, very, very smooth. There's no doubt about that. And I think, again, if you look at the frets, it's all pretty much very little to do. Well, it should be very little to do because it came off a Jeff Beck Strat. And what more can you say about that? It should be ready to play. It's exactly as you'd expect it to be. In my opinion, it's sort of very similar to like a sort of 62 style of neck, but it isn't quite a 62 style of neck. But more about that later, with a bit of luck. Okay, well, when you look at it down here, down in this part, there are the tuners, the locking tuners, which are really great. I've got them on lots of guitars. I know you can get different designs and different makes and different this and different that, but when you're on a Strat like this, you want to have the strings anchored, and they're in that roller nut. Yeah, so it all matters, that does. There's the serial number. It's 2309, so that's 11th of September 2023. So it's not really that old. By the time it's been around somewhere, they've pulled it apart, they've this, they've that, there's the result. Now then, believe it or not, if you look down here, don't look about that mark that's there. I don't even think it's a mark. I think it's actually part of the wood, that sort of brown bit there. But if you look at the knock on the end, well, I can't actually feel it there at all. I can maybe just tiny amount. I can't feel it there, and I can just about on that very edge there, right there. It's just raised a tiny little bit. And to be frank, I could take a bit of sandpaper and 30 seconds and reflash this sort of matte finish, because I've got some, and you would never know. And there you go. For this particular neck, this is one I did buy, and I knew that it got this dent, so-called dent on the end. They knocked $30 off for that, but I don't really care about that, if you want the truth. The dollars didn't bother me. I was more interested in seeing this neck in real life and exactly what this was like. And to be honest, even if I didn't do anything with it, it's fine. It's perfect. Well, it's as perfect as matters, let's put it that way. So I didn't buy it unknowing that it had got this very slight mark on the end. But I don't care. So be aware of that before you say, "Oh, Tony, you've bought rubbish." I don't think I have. The Wilkinson nut aspect, which I talked about a bit earlier, and the original Wilkinson nut. I do know that Jeff Beck preferred the Wilkinson nut, but that doesn't mean that this one's no good. It just means that he preferred the Wilkinson one. Unless you're somebody who's, well, another Jeff Beck. Do you know any? I don't. Then does it really matter? Are you ever going to really be a Jeff Beck? I doubt it. Because you would have been long ago. And you're not, are you? No. Like me, like you, and like millions of other guys that watch Jeff Beck. Yeah. It's an acquired ability. And I'm sure that Jeff worked on it I know he did, year after year after year after year. Yeah. One more thing before we go. Yeah, there it is. The Fender sticker. There it is. Part number 032309. That says something like, I don't know, 1123 or you figure it out. But it says Beck Stratocaster SF6. My eyes have got it right. 0119 600-857. You don't really get any more Fender than what that is. Okay, well, here's the neck. You've got a nice view of it like that. And yeah, it's very, very high quality, no matter what anybody might tell you. But it ought to be very high quality for the amount of money that you're paying. And do remember that the Jeff Beck Strat is substantial money in the UK at the very least. I think it's got a list price of £2,300 or about $2,700. In the UK, it's very expensive. In the USA, it might be, I don't know, $2,100 or something like that. But I've seen them selling pretty much all day for £1,700 or £1,800 for used guitars, and that's not really hyperdynamic, is it? That's quite expensive for what you're getting and what you're paying. But having said that, the price of this was, as I've said earlier, I think about 500 quid, give or take, something like that. I paid a little bit extra on the top, but whatever. Yeah, what more can I say? Looking at it, in any case, you can see it's a very nice piece of rosewood. And it is rosewood. This fingerboard, by the way, is also a 9.5-inch radius. It's not one of these that's 7.25 or something like that. No, 9.5-inch radius, which suits me absolutely fine. I love the Jeff Beck logo. I love the Fender logo, and I like the finish because it's just this smooth finish. And as I said earlier, these sides of this neck feel like they've all been rolled, which they should have been really on a guitar of this cost. Moving along a bit further, you can see there's the LSR roller nut, and this one's 42.86 wide, 42.86 millimeters, that is. Inches wouldn't fit on the screen. I have a bad sense of humour, put up with it. Yeah, so there it is. It's not the Wilkinson one, which I've spoke about a little bit earlier. And the Wilkinson one, I've seen them going literally for £100. Used, because they don't make them anymore. And, well, Jeff Beck might have liked the Wilkinson one better. Well, sadly, I'm no Jeff Beck, and probably neither are you. So the LSR one is fine, because I've already got 2 or 3 of these necks with it on, and it's perfect. It's a fabulous piece of gear. The frets, by the way, are medium jumbo. They're not these thin things that you get on the early 60s or before, I think. And these, they just feel really, really good, which is what I'd expect on a finished neck. Remember, it's a finished neck, not some neck that's like half a job that you've got to do the work on. So let's move down a bit further. Yeah, there's not much more you can say about this really, except, you know, when you turn it over, it's all there. You've got the US 2309 1120 serial number. You might not see it that way around, but I wouldn't worry. Let's turn her over. Yeah, there it is. And these nice lock-in tuners that we've already spoken about. Yeah, it's just a decent piece of gear. I've showed you the so-called dent on the end. Everyone I've ever bought from the Stratosphere has always been perfect. But this one wasn't, and it was the only one that they had that wasn't a custom shop one. And I didn't want to pay $1,100 for a custom shop one that's probably virtually identical. Virtually. That's just an opinion, of course. What else can I say? Oh, the truss rod. Yeah, we didn't cover that. There's an adjuster there. I did cover that. And this is, as I said, it's rosewood fingerboard, but it's got a biflex truss rod. And for anybody that doesn't really know what that means, it means that if your neck's like that, can you see that? Yeah, it'll work. And if your neck's like that, well, it'll still work. Straighten it out. Yeah, all good. And of course, lastly, I've got the Fender logo that I've talked about. And the Jeff Beck signature. Some people don't like that on the front, and if you want to go and buy the custom shop Jeff Beck neck, which I know was on the Stratosphere, he had 4 of them, he's probably still got them at $1,100. That moves from the front to round the back, somewhere here, or somewhere here. Not that it matters. So, here we are back up top with the Jeff Beck neck. Yeah, can't wait to get my hands on this part 3 build. Yeah, we're going to screw the neck on and mess about a bit. And that'll be it. Well, there's nothing to it, is there? If you think about it. In any case, there it is. I wanted to cover this neck because, you know, people, you know what guys are like. Oh, it can't be worth that, or it's not this, or it's not the other, or it's this or that, or I don't like Strats, or Fender's rubbish, all them other things. This particular neck, in my opinion, and it doesn't matter whether it's this one or any one of the other ones, they all seem to be spot on. Well, how do I know that? Because I've already got 2 or 3. This one makes the 4th one, and you know, they're all the same. They're all as good. That's a bit weird, isn't it? You'd think sooner or later they can get something wrong, aren't they? Following on from that that video where I discussed the price of guitars and the rest of it, I mean, let's take this as being £600 and not £500. Let's take the body as being £700. It's £1,300. If I had to buy a case, I can buy a case for about 120, give or take. So to be 1420. I've already said that scarily these are 21 to 2300 pounds in England. Let's say 21. So I've saved a third. That nicely cuts out the music reseller, which is either seen as a good thing or a bad thing. It depends how you look at it. Well, I tend to like to give money to music resellers, if you want the truth. Yeah, they do deserve something. But having said that, when I look at the way that music retailers and the manufacturers operate, you know, I didn't like to see that thing a few years back of the CMA investigation of Fender. Well, the truth is, I don't have to like a company because I like the products. It's just a fact of life. All I know is that in the businesses that I'm in, I couldn't do those sort of things. Well, would I even want to? They start getting a bit, well, not very good. They're not what you should do in life. And I think there's always the right thing and the wrong thing to do. I'll leave you to make your own mind up about all of that. But as far as the neck's concerned, you need to buy one. Okay, well, the next one in this series of the Jeff Beck Strat will be the bolting together, the setting up and the playing of that said guitar that's cost about £1,300, give or take. So, do look forward to that, won't you? It'll be worth watching, I'm sure, and you'll see the finished result. Quite nice, this is, I think. I always thought it would be, even before it arrived. Well, that's it for now. Don't forget to whiz along to https://TonyMcKenzie.com, which is my website. It's got lots of reviews and other bits of useless information, or useful information, depending on what you're looking for. Lots and lots of reviews, though, of amps, guitars, effects, you name it. There's lots on there. But so is my YouTube channel, which is TonyMcKenzie.com without the dot. And that's how you find my YouTube channel. Yeah, it should all be good. So watch for the next review of this, where we assemble the guitar. It's no big deal, but it's not the point. The point is, it's showing you real quality parts that you can buy cheaper than through those other routes. And that was the intention right from the off. As was the video on the pricing, which I'll link down in the text. So you can go and watch that. That's a 2024 update of the pricing. Yeah, which should be interesting to you. I haven't got a Jeff Beck Strat on there, but I've got a number of guitars on there, and they all seem to be going one way. That way. On the used market, that is, not on the brand new products. So until next time, yeah, I'll see you then. Now get out of here.